Okay, now we're going to finish up with this last thing. We're going to do a table by hand, and then we're going to sketch a graph by hand. Now, when we choose a table, when we do a table to make graphs, we already know these are linear. So once we know a graph is linear, we know it's going to be a straight line. So all we got to do is get a couple x's to get where the graph basically is. So we get to choose the x's. And that's the key here. You know they're linear. So you know it's going to be a straight, non-curved line. All right? So which x's do we choose? Well, it depends. What are we multiplying to the x? If we're multiplying a whole number, well, we might as well just use whole numbers. And we might as well just keep it simple. If we're going to use the 3 minus 2x rule, we might as well just do -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. But when we do the next one, when we use the next rule, we have a fraction times the variable. And so it's a lot easier to graph if you use whole numbers. So let's pick better x's. Let's pick x's that are a multiple of 3, or an x that will basically cancel this 3. All right, so for this one, instead, we're going to pick x's that are multiples of 3. All right, so I'm thinking, okay, -6, -3, 0, 3, 6. And that way, this will be more manageable. We won't have to have decimals for y's, which is what's going to happen if you use -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. You're going to get decimals for -2, -1, and 1, 2. Okay, so now it's just a matter of plugging the x's we're using into the rule. All right, I'm going to have you finish this one on your own, but I'll walk you all through this one because, again, it's a fraction, I know. All right, so when you do 2 times -6 and then you divide by 3, or if you want to cross cancel, the same thing here, you do 2 times -6 and then you divide by 3. Okay, and then anything times 0 is 0, so this becomes 0 plus 2. And then the same thing down here. You do 2 over 3 times 3 and then plus 2. So 6 divided by 3 and then you plus 2. And the same thing here. Okay, so then when we finish this, we're going to get our y's. All right, I'll start at the bottom. So this is going to become 12 divided by 3, which is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So when x is 6, y is 6. This becomes 2 times 3, which is 6. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So this is going to be 3x, y, 4. And then we already know this is 2. And now the same thing like down here, except it's negative. So now we'll get -6 divided by 3. So -2 plus 2, which is 0. Okay, so -3x, y, 0. And then here you get -12 divided by 3, which is -4. And -4 plus 2 is -2. Okay, so you do the same thing with this one on your own. I'll sketch that graph in a minute. So I'm going to sketch this graph, and notice that we have multiples of 3 for the x's and multiples of 2 for the y's. Okay. So again, I'm not going to do the first one for you. It's a little easier than the one with the fraction. All right, so since we have what we have, we can go ahead and just use multiples of 3. Maybe you want to spread this out a little bit. So 3, 6, -3, -6. and then this would be 2, that would be 4, that would be -2. Okay. Now, if you want to go ahead and spread out the x a little bit, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you could do that too. All right, and then once we kind of spread it out a little bit, so this would be a little bit better to scale, whereas the first one kind of just arbitrarily squeezed the x's we're putting on the number line. So better to get something to scale. And then we can just plot. So -6, -2, so that would be the dot over here. -3, 0, so that would be right here on the x-axis. And then 0, 2, so that would be on the y-axis. And then 6, 6, looks like I got to have another 2 spaces for 6. And now we have done what we needed to do.